Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and in today's video, well, something's changed. Aside from the fabulous new cameras, we finally hit 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube, which is absolutely amazing. I never thought I would reach this level here on YouTube, so thank you so much for all of your support over the years. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, well, maybe you should, because it is a huge help. So in today's lesson, I'm going to give you a little bit of a triad workout, but this time we're going to combine major triads and minor triads. But in order to do this, we need to have an overview of our triad positioning system, which of course I have talked about extensively over on my guided practice routines over on Patreon, or of course my guided practice routine books, which are available on Amazon. This is a big part of the way I visualize the neck. This is, well, not a big part, this is the fundamental way that I visualize the neck. My knowledge of triads is very strong, and that comes from a deep love of triad-based improvisers, which, in all honesty, piano players, they use triads a lot. So knowledge of triads, being able to hear triads, I think of triads as being the building blocks of harmony, the foundations of all of the harmony that we are used to listening to. So I think it's very important that we have those things under our hands and in our ears. So let's take a look at these particular licks so you can get them under your fingers too. So today I'm going to be using my trusty Danny Gatton style Telecaster, which Facebook Memories tells me I have been playing for 10 years now, which is a long time. And the guitar, I think, has aged quite a lot in those 10 years, but the less we want to comment on how much I've aged in those 10 years would be very much appreciated. So let's take a look at these ideas. Now, I play professionally when I'm out gigging. I play in a soul band. And rhythm guitar is an incredibly important part of playing soul music. When you look at the great soul musicians, guys like Curtis Mayfield or Steve Cropper, of course, how could we not mention guys like Steve? I guess, Hendrix has a lot of soul influence in his rhythm work. Rhythm is very, very important in soul music. And of course, funk music and R&B music. And because of that, I think it's important to understand where a lot of these sounds come from. So for me, I've taken a lot of influence from gospel musicians, actually, gospel pianists, gospel organ players. And a lot of these sounds creep over into like the neo-soul thing, which you guys are probably familiar with. I don't really consider myself a neo-soul guitar player. Traditional soul, that's where it's at for me. So the concept we're going to be looking at today is combining major and minor triads in our rhythm work. So our main focus is going to be getting to grips with the one chord followed by the two chord. We'll do these all in A, so that'll be an A major and a B minor. But of course, the knowledge of being able to do that in any key is important, and I will bring that up at the end. But before we do that, it's incredibly important that I just triple check we are very comfortable with our basic major triads in our three areas on the neck. If you're unfamiliar with these, again, I can't express this enough. I've taught these extensively on my YouTube channel, and they form the basis of all of my teaching system, which you can find in my books and on my Patreon page and all of that good stuff. Let's just quickly run through that. So if I'm in A major, I fundamentally have three chord positions I play out of. I play out of my E shape, which we're all familiar with, my C shape, which guys tend to be weaker with, but this is a great shape. Lots of great voicings that we can play out of here, lots of great licks that we can play out of here. And my A shape. Three chord positions. Of course, if I move down, those three chord shapes, no matter the key, if I'm in C major, I can find those three chord voicings, and I'm going to be able to extract all of this triad information or extract all the melodic improvisational ideas that I do out of these triad positions. So if we look at that E shape, on top of it we have a triad spelled out. This is, you could technically call this a first inversion, but I don't think of these like that. When I'm playing all of these, I'm hearing them over an A bass note, because of course when I'm playing in a band, my bass player is going to be playing an A. So when I play this, it sounds like an A major chord. So the triad is there for me. Now if I take the note that was on top and put it on the bottom, we're going to have would be two triads. We could do that again. Take the E that's on top, put it on the bottom, and we have we could do the same again. Take the C sharp that's on top, put it on the bottom. That's an important part of knowledge around this position. If I'm playing an E shape, I know all of those triads, and that forms the basis of a lot of my improvisational ideas. Lots of ideas that I'm playing there, but when I'm doing that, I'm fundamentally seeing and playing around these triad forms. A little bit of major, a little bit of minor, besides the point. So that's our E shape, but we need to be able to do that in our C shape too. So if this is my C shape, then my triads are spelled out by the chord. And if you don't know these, you're not going to be able to progress beyond this point. So you have to get rid of this idea of, I can rush forward in my knowledge, I can rush forward in my study of music. It's important that we have foundational knowledge. It's important that we don't skip over these key fundamental skills that are going to be incredibly important in our development later on. You're not going to be able to play licks like if I can't see this. I'm seeing triads as I'm doing that. So, triad position, and then finally A shape. Again, they're all spelled out in this chord form. This isn't a lesson about teaching those, but we're just making sure that you do know those. If you don't, pause the video, go and learn them. Go back to my previous videos where I teach these concepts. Learn them in great detail. You should be able to come back here and say, oh, what's the chord, Levi? E flat. Cool. Here's an E flat. Here's an E flat. Here's an E flat. And because of that, E flat. E flat. E flat. But more importantly, and the thing that I covered in my guided practice routine on Patreon just last week, being able to confidently play things like so it's lots of position changing, right? E flat. Get those position shifts correct. Yeah, lots of E flat. We should confidently be able to do that. Because to move on from there and play the one chord followed by the two chord is going to require a lot of strong knowledge of triads and position shifting. So if I switch over and start looking at this one chord followed by the two chord concept, what we'll do here is we'll take our A major sound and we'll move between A major triads and B minor triads, but we're going to be doing that with an A bass note. So if I take this A major triad voicing like this, this comes out of my open A chord voicing, but my triads in that area, I know those things, that's important. So if this is A major, I'm going to move up to B minor. Now, if I shift my triad form up a tone, this would be a B major chord, A major, B major. But we don't want that, we want B minor. So we also need to know our minor triad voicings. Again, not teaching those here, you should know those before this lesson. So B major becomes B minor, A major, B minor. And here's the key, shifting A major, B minor, A major. And that's a position shift, right? A major, B minor, A major. What I actually think when I do that is 1, 2, 1. Now to me, that's a rhythmic idea. I can get a lot of melodic mileage in my rhythm playing out of an idea like that. Now, I want you to explore an idea like that until it's really ingrained, both physically under your hands. It needs to be a muscle memory thing, but also as a musical idea. You know, if I change the key, anytime I play this shape, I can apply that idea. So if I was in E major, I can play if there was a set of chord changes, maybe we've got a 1 chord and a 4 chord, I guess in the key of, if we do that in A, we could go between our A, and then if a D hits, to our A, to our D. So this is a musical idea that I'm extracting from this chord position. Now, when we start to become confident with that, we then can start exploring doing that on different string sets. So if we did it over an A major chord starting on the D, G, and B strings, if I move that over the neck to a lower triad position, I need to be able to do the same thing. A major, B minor, A major. A trickier position change there from this. Deciding how I like to finger that. Yeah. Now we really want to know that. You could do this on the top strings, but in order, for the sake of brevity, what I want to explore is taking this across string sets. So rather than playing, I could also make that position change, interval inversion change. But instead of playing here, I can play here. So now, what I'm fundamentally doing there is a triple stop, right? 3 notes. Chordal ideas where we're using 3 notes at once. But it really starts to make an A major chord sound a little bit more interesting. If I take that one groove and move between an A major and a D major, you'd have A. Tricky little chord movements like that, but they sound really, really cool to my ears. And it's a really good example of like knowledge of the fretboard, real solid understanding of things. So once you start to get comfortable doing that around this A shape, well, we could do the same thing around our E shape. So here's an A major, B minor, A major. Now this is E shape, B minor, and then shifting into my C shape. I use this all the time. Sounds very musical to my ears. We can get, instead of having to play over and over for an A major chord, being able to play something a little bit more rhythmically and harmonically interesting. Sounds great, right? And it's just combining things that we know in a musical way. So let's continue that idea up. A major, B minor, A major. Where's our next B minor? So again, just knowledge of these things. A major, B minor. Lots of ideas there. If I did the same idea on my D, G, and B strings. and sooner or later, this becomes a sound that you hear in your head. Lots of position shifting. I'm doing a lot of things, but I'm not really playing any. There was 1 or 2 spots there where I played a D major triad. But at its core, that idea is just an A major triad and a B minor triad. 1 chord followed by the 2 chord played minor. And if you can get this down in your playing, you're going to expand your rhythm playing beyond what it has always been. But in the long run, you'll start to be able to hear lines like this as inspiration for melodic content. And that's where this thing really is. But of course, that's a lesson for another day. So I hope you've enjoyed that concept. Any questions, please do let me know in that comment section below. Give me some feedback on the new camera look, the new setup. Give me some feedback on YouTube in general. Any requests, you just let me know in that comment section below. And of course, if you do want to support the channel, the best way to do that is to head on over to my Patreon page. But of course, I have many books available on Amazon. You can check those out as well. All great ways to support the channel, and you can get something very cool out of it in return. So thank you very much for tuning into this lesson. I've been Levi Clay, and I will see you for another lesson soon. Laters.